Welcome into another episode. I'm really excited to be joined today by Maria Gakdeng from over at the University of North Carolina. First and foremost, Maria, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm just happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. It's so I just started putting this on. I've been doing this for like just about 2 years now, but I just started putting on YouTube.
Mhm.
By far, you blow anybody's background away having a freaking Jordan brand logo behind you. Um, I guess one of the first things I want to ask is just like, how are you feeling about the season so far? We were mentioning it just off pod, like somehow it's already February. We're like 10 games into ACC play. So how are you kind of feeling so far?
I feel like the season's flying. Like I just looked at my tickets and I just realized that we have 4 home games left, and I'm just like, wow. But I feel like it's been going really well. I've developed a lot as a player, as a person. I just have a lot of like staff around me, the players that I play with such a high IQ, and they're willing to get me the ball. So I feel like on the court and then off the court, just making those connections with my teammates has been really great and really fun. I would say there's been ups and downs, but honestly, I feel like once we like eliminate some mistakes and get some things together, then we'd be great.
Yeah, you guys have played one of the strongest schedules in the country, and it's shown, like especially getting into ACC play, it feels like every day I'm looking at the standings and the top five shifts again. Like it's
Yeah.
been absolutely nuts. What has that kind of been like? Like you mentioned, dealing with some of the highs and lows and just enduring what it is to be at the top of the ACC.
I would say throughout ACC play, it's really just up and down for every team. Like you'll see some upsets some nights, and sometimes there's a blowout. But like I feel like there's always something surprising going on a Thursday or a Sunday. So any given night, there's someone who's gonna step up and be there for their team and get a win. And then for us specifically, I feel like just being consistent is something big for us. We're at the top of the ACC, and that's something that I like, from my last school. Like it's not something that I'm used to, but there's expectations that we need to reach and that we have for one another, and upholding each other to that has been something that we've been doing throughout the season, with the team, as a whole. So I feel like we're doing really well with that.
No, I love that. When you mentioned too, in terms of like coming over from BC to UNC, what was that adjustment period like for you? Because like again, like coming from the same conference, but also
Mhm.
very different. I'm sure definitely a lot more happy to be in Chapel Hill than Boston in February right now. But yeah, what was that adjustment period like for you?
It was a big adjustment, I would say. Coming here, I came in June, and I just finished school in May, so had like a month break between school. But when I got here, it was just like obviously the weather is a lot different. It's a lot. I like to be warm, and I don't know how I did it for 2 years, but I'm here now, so I'm just really happy that the weather's nice, and then also when we got to start working out in the summer, there was a big difference in just the intensity that we play with, and knowing that we have a goal to reach a point in the final in March Madness, and to get there and to take it game by game. It's not going to be easy, and we knew that from the jump. So just coming here and knowing that there's a purpose behind the way we play, and playing with intensity, grit, and just being there for one another off the court as well has been something that's been huge. So I feel like the way we bond as a team, there's like 15 of us, and I feel like that's so many so many players, but we all just kind of we work together well off the court, and I feel like that's what makes us better on the court. Having those communication skills to work through, things that the differences that we have, but on the court, I feel like everything's coming together really well.
Yeah, and I know like obviously like Coach Banghart had recruited you prior to UNC and a lot of the
Mhm.
staff there. But what in terms of like acclimating and getting to know everybody, did you have any connections with anybody from AAU or like playing against them at all, or was this kind of coming in with a clean slate?
This was kind of like a clean slate. I had met the players when I had visited, that was kind of the first time. Well, I had visited before, but that was kind of the first time I got a feel for the campus and some of the players. But I would say the only like experience that I had was playing against UNC for the past 2 years.
Hmm.
And I had known like some of the player well, most of the players, because I think there's 8 newcomers this year. So I think the ones that returned, I was used to like playing against them. It was always a tough team to play, and I remember my freshman year when we played them. We were up actually, and it was a home. It was in Boston, and we were up actually in the fourth quarter, and then they came back and won. And so that's something that always kind of stuck with me.
Hmm.
How they came back and like fought through that. Obviously, that was a tough loss for us, but I always remember that, and how they play with like so much pride and intensity. So that's something that I was always, kind of watching. And then all like, throughout ACC play, they're in the top half of the conference. So it was always good watching them with the good matchup or playing against them. So I didn't know any players personally, but, through like, basketball connections, you would just know certain players. So yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. Are you somebody who like keeps up pretty tightly with everything else going on in college basketball, or are you like pretty focused in on just your team?
I try to keep up like when I can. I'm mainly focused on like our goals and our
For sure.
we want to accomplish, but I do obviously keep up with, the top 25 teams and teams that, I have friends that play for other teams throughout D1 like college basketball, so I keep up with that as well. I'm on Twitter and I see, everything that's happening, people who, have things to say, and then also just like seeing like some upsets in different conferences, just keeping up with that. I feel like it's really interesting.
Who is the team maybe that you guys haven't even played yet, but you feel is maybe the most underrated team in the ACC?
Most
Excluding you
underrated.
guys, because I know you
That's a
could
good
always throw yourself out, but who would be the team that's maybe most underrated in the ACC right now?
Okay. I'm trying to think. Honestly, I would say UVA. Honestly,
Yeah.
we played them last Sunday and like we lost that game, but they play with a lot of intensity, I would say, like, a lot of pride. They have a couple freshmen that are stepping up and doing really great things, and I've noticed that. So like them upsetting us was like I feel like it was just like a shocker, but they had beat Florida State, I think, before us.
Mhm.
So we knew they were coming, and we knew that they had a chip on their shoulder, especially since we had already beat them before. But I feel like it's exciting to watch them play. So I feel like they're pretty underrated.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
exactly who I would go with actually, because there
Yeah.
it's Kimora Johnson, their one freshman.
Yes.
She is so good. And she's been like she had a crazy game last night again too. I think she had like
Yes, I saw
15
that.
in the first quarter against Virginia Tech. Like they're young, but they're a lot better than their record says. Like they're gonna keep putting it together. It's like it's part of being a young team, being really inconsistent. But no, exactly. It feels like every single night in the ACC is just crazy. Every night I just like tweet out like random memes like ACC is just insane. You
It's
never know
crazy.
what's gonna happen any
You never
given night.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, but especially like you mentioned in terms of where this team is at, I feel like whenever I think about UNC, I think of defense and rebounding, and obviously the offense has come along as well too. But getting to know this defense and be a big part of it, obviously, like this team didn't really have a rim protector last year, and that's one of the things you really excel at. Um, what has it been like getting to kind of integrate into this? Because Courtney loves to muck it up on defense. You guys will run
Yes.
like everything in the book possible.
Yeah.
So what has that been like getting to experience that and kind of get comfortable in that?
I would say a big adjustment was kind of getting to know the zone defense that we have. We worked on that a lot over the summer and even preseason, like just keeping it sharp because we know that it's a good way for us to get stops on defense. And then our man coverage is also, I feel like what we say is strong on own, best together. And I feel like individually we have to defend well and then be there for each other, be in help. So that's something that Coach Bankhart harps on a lot. So that's something that we've been working on since last summer, like defense, defense, defense. Because I think last year she said they were like at the bottom half of like rebounding. So I feel like that was something that we needed to work on, and that's something that we did work on, and it's gotten so much better from last season. So that's something that we're proud of and we take pride in.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And especially for you, like I feel like even if your box score hasn't really changed this year, I feel like you've made a lot of strides in your game, like on both ends for sure. But where do you feel like you've maybe grown most as a player?
I would say I've grown most with mm, let me think about that for a second.
Because
I would
I'll throw out, well, I'll throw out what
yeah.
I feel. I feel like obviously like your efficiency this year pops. So you were already really efficient last year, but I think like, especially like even last night against NC State, like you are awesome with deep seals. I feel like that's something you've gotten
Mhm.
even better at, like just playing strong and establishing yourself. And then defensively, I feel like not that like I don't think you were bad with foul trouble with BC, but I feel like you've continued to get better at
Yeah.
staying vertical and not, figuring out how to like be a deterrent without always blocking shots, if that makes sense. Like being a rim
Yeah.
protector without having to block shots is like the big step for becoming really good as a rim protector. I feel like you really hit that stage.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I can definitely agree with that. The fact that, being down low and being a force there draws other defenders. So I feel like that helps get my teammates open, get some shots on the perimeter, and then making sure I'm getting in there, being tough and rebounding. So I've definitely gotten stronger since last year. So being that force down low that kind of just draws in defenders and allows my teammates to get other shots. And then also just like making sure when I'm doing my work early and getting the ball, I'm taking my time. That's something I also have worked on a lot because I feel like last year I kind of had so rushed a lot, and I still kind of do, still working on that, but I've taken my time a lot more because I know defenders are coming to double sometime or most of the time. So yeah, that's something that's been I have been working on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting too because I feel like people undersell that. Like when they see a big and they think of like how you can get better, it's like, oh, we'll just take threes or take more jumpers. And obviously that's like an area anybody can grow in. But I feel like doing the dirty work things, like I feel like I've always liked you as a screener, but I feel like you keep getting better as a screener. You're again positioning on the glass, like just like the little things like that make you so much better at doing the little things to amplify what you do. Yeah, and it feels like you're really hitting that stage.
Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. So I mean, like backtracking a little bit too, in terms of like getting on campus and or even before then, like when you know that UNC is a possibility in the transfer portal, what really sold you on coming here? Like what were conversations like? Obviously, I know you had a relationship with them already, but like what really cemented for you that you wanted to come to Chapel Hill?
I think it was knowing the difference that I could make, especially, like you said, they needed a rim protector. They needed someone down low, a force, someone that was going to come in and just make a difference. And that's something that was my biggest thing going in the portal. I wanted to go to a team that, because was already kind of established and already had great players and a great coaching staff, which is a big thing as well. So just knowing that they had everything that I kind of needed, and then there was a spot that I could fit in, and I saw myself fitting in, and they kind of visualized that for me, the coaches, when I came on my visit, and they kind of just put it on a screen and just showed me like, oh, this is where we're gonna have you, this is what we're gonna have you doing. So just helping me visualize where I was gonna be, and then making that a reality was something that I I really wanted. So just like getting to know the players as well, knowing that just hearing from them that they do need someone like me was also something that was huge. And then getting to know them like off the court and knowing like what they do as a team, how they operate, knowing that they have a great connection, and then there's a spot for me, and I feel like it's all coming together, and it's all everything that I was helped visualize, everything that I was told, like it was all like it all came to be true, and I feel like that's something that you don't usually see, or it happens where um sometimes coaches say one thing and then there's like something ends up happening that's like different. So I think that everything that I had experienced on my visit and like had gotten to like the questions I asked, like the people that I met were all just like the support staff even that I met was they were all just willing and bought in, and you could tell like just from how they connect as a whole.
Yeah, no, I really like that, especially like you mentioned in terms of asking questions yourself. I feel
Mhm.
like so often people like envision people going to the portal. It's like, oh, well, you're just getting wooed to go somewhere. But no, like you want to go somewhere where you can really find where you want to be. And obviously it has to be a good fit for you. So like what questions do you even like come in and ask? Like, what does that look like for you? Like, did you, what were the things that you mainly wanted to hit on and figure out?
I just wanted to know how the team operated, just like with like apart from the coaches. So that was something that I asked. I wanted to know more about even like before they showed me, like made me like saw it, I saw it on like a screen and they visualized it for me. I kind of asked like, where do you see me here? And how can I grow as not just a player but as a person if I came here, or if I were to come here? So I think those were like some of the questions that I asked. And just know like getting to know like the opportunities that I would get playing for Coach Banghart. And there's so many. Even just being a student here, being an athlete, that just brings so many opportunities. And then just the name that they made for themselves over the past what 4 years with their senior class, I feel like they have made like a huge statement about who they are. So just asking questions about that and like getting to know what they want to do in the future and how I can be a part of that. So those were some of the questions. Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of like, getting to know everybody, is there anybody now that you've been here for a while that has really changed up your impression of them before you came in? Like, is there anybody that you thought you had like an idea of who they were, but now you have like a very different perspective on who they are as a person?
I'm gonna say Deja, and she
Yeah.
if she sees this, she's probably gonna laugh. But like just the way she plays on the court is very, very tough. Like she gets to it, and she plays with like a fearlessness, and it is something that I really admire about her. And then off the court, she's like a fashionista, putting all her things on and just being like who she is. So I feel like she's unapologetically her. So when I got to know her, like when I got here, she's actually really funny. We have, like a little bully relationship or whatever, but it's like all love, obviously.
Hmm.
But just getting to know her outside of basketball, um, just hanging out with her and then hanging out with, my teammates. I hang out with I didn't really know India before or Sydney or Paulina, but getting to know them more. I'm roommates with them as well. So
Hmm.
we hang out a lot, we go out to eat, we just, enjoy each other's presence. So I feel like that's something that I've really grown to appreciate because it's not something that we did as much over the summer, but like since the season started and like we're kind of all we have right now at this moment, I feel like getting to know them more off the court, hanging out with them, just outside of like practice has been something that's made us all closer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I love that. And especially too with India has been good this year.
She's
Like
been so
she's
good, yeah.
really popped. It's been
Yeah.
fun to watch her.
Hmm.
Um, and especially too with the coaching staff. What separates UNC in practice? Like what does a practice look like for you? What was kind of your first practice like with the Heels?
I would say it was really fast paced. I remember I think there was like a crowd there for our first practice. Like it was during I think it was during a camp. And I just remember it being really, really fast paced. Just making sure that I was like at the back of the line, just kind of filling
Yeah.
out what I needed to do on my end. And just I know the coaches were really intense. They make sure that you do things right, you do it the right way, like every single time. So that's something that they harp on a lot. For like position coaches, they they get on you like and that's rightfully so, just making sure that like they know what you want to do, they know like the future that I want to play as a pro, so they push me to be um the pro player that I want to be. So I think that they get on us in practice, and then after practice it's all love. Like they're just like our best friends, and I feel like the coaching staff here is just so different because they want to know you as a person. They want to build that relationship. They love when you come into the office, even though we don't come as much anymore. But I still try to come, every now and then say hi. So they just appreciate us as people and as players.
Yeah, especially like getting acclimated to the atmosphere too of
Yeah.
I mean it's UNC, like it's
Mhm.
North Carolina. What has that been like? Because I feel like, obviously like you've played U1 basketball, you've been in this, but coming like we mentioned at the beginning, there's the Jordan Brand logo is behind you. Like
Yeah.
it's North Carolina. So what has that been like seeing that obviously like Carmichael is always popping. So like what has that been like getting used to that?
I feel like you're playing for so much, like for so many people. There's a certain pride and there's a certain like honor you have to play with when you wear that jersey. So I think that I've grown to understand that and know that coming here means like you're representing the players before you, the champions before you, even the student athletes now. They all support us, and like we all support one another, and we know that being an athlete here just means so much. And there's people that the people that come to our games, the band is amazing. The student section is always amazing. The donors and alumni and the fans, like it's every home game is like I'm still like kind of getting like used to it. It's
Yeah.
just so amazing. The atmosphere that they help create makes a big difference. So I think that just playing here has shown me that like I'm really a part of a family and a big family actually. So just like knowing that brings me a lot of joy and a lot of pride.
No, definitely. And like
Mhm.
kind of expanding off that too, like just this year in general, I think part of what's been really fun is I feel like I've gotten to see your name get talked about a lot more. Um,
Yeah.
have you felt that? Like, have you just kind of felt an increase in exposure playing at UNC this year? Because I know, like, for me, like, I'm watching everything. So, like, I loved watching you and Taina both really excel at
Yeah.
Boston College last year. It's been dope to see everybody, like, well, they know you guys now, but also, like, have you kind of felt that?
I definitely have. I would say around live action, which is back in October, like that's kind of when we kind of came out and showed like our skills. We played in the game. And that was it was really fun. Just after like talking to all the people that were there, the fans, taking pictures with them. That kind of just was like an opening to like how the season I thought the season would go, and it's been even more than that. Like even away games, our fans like travel with us, donors comes to our games, and then my family comes to any games that they can. So I think that just knowing that there's so many people that support us has been great. Yeah.
Yeah. Your family's Maryland area, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Dope. So what is, I'm trying to think what closest game is for you guys then.
It would be Virginia,
Oh
UVA,
yeah,
two and a
I
half
never
hours. Yeah.
remember which
So
one
my
it was
mom
close.
came last Sunday. She was there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, again, like going off that and just kind of looking ahead, when you look at the rest of the schedule too, and where you guys are at right now, what things do you really want to keep accomplishing? Is there like, obviously, I know it's one game at a time, but is there a particular game that you maybe have circled as the year finishes out?
Oh, you said, is there a certain game? Sorry.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Is there like a particular game that you have circled as the year finishes out? Like, obviously, I know you guys are going game by game, but
yes. Yeah.
is there anything you're like really looking forward to as the year finishes?
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to playing state again. Just from last night, I know that we came up short, and the Reynolds it's a crazy
It
environment,
is
but
crazy.
knowing that we had people right behind, like we had people hard our back, like we had our fans right behind us, family, friends, just supporting us. So I think that and having one another, I think we could have definitely came out with the win. So just seeing them again on the 22nd, I think that'll be good. And then obviously the rivalry, the Duke game, both of them, I'm looking forward to that. So I feel like the last stretch is kind of like rival games. We played Virginia Tech on Sunday, so I feel like playing them twice. Those are kind of some rivals right there. So um, I'm looking forward to every game actually, but
Yeah.
in state in particular, yeah,
No, definitely. Yeah, I exactly like you mentioned. I mean, it's the ACC. You can't
yeah,
like every game is just nuts. Like I look at the schedule every night, I'm like, wow, okay, I can't miss any game tonight. But yeah, I don't know if you got to see any of Duke UNC last year, but those are two of like the most like in the mud games I've ever seen. I think
yeah,
the final score of the tournament game between them was like both teams scored
yeah,
under 40.
yeah. I saw that.
It
Yeah,
was
it
crazy.
was crazy. Yeah.
So I can only imagine because Duke is very similar again this year in how they play.
Mhm.
Um, but as we get close to wrapping up too, in terms of like just talking about like now you're a junior, you've been in college for a minute now. How do you feel you've maybe grown most since you first stepped on to being a college athlete?
I would say being a student athlete comes with a lot. There's a lot thrown at you. Being a freshman, I was kind of just like, even off the court, just like the classes, and then the basketball aspect was like kind of like just thrown into the fire. But I did have a lot of support around me. But I felt like as a freshman, I was really like individual. And I felt like I didn't really like I appreciated the support around me, but I didn't really take advantage of it, I feel like.
Mhm.
But now I feel like I've grown to the point where I can be vulnerable enough with the people around me to, ask for help, um, ask what people need from me, being there, being a better teammate in that aspect, and just being able to be more vulnerable, knowing that I can take, constructive criticism from coaches, but also understanding that like, okay, I might need to work on this or this, and just being able to ask coaches and ask other players like, what do you need from me, or what do I need to work on? So I feel like as a freshman, I didn't really like ask those questions like, how can I be more of a team player? But now like I know that they need like I'm needed, we're all needed now like more than ever. And in order to, win these next stretch of games, we need to be bought in 100%, and like we need to all know 100% what we need from one another. So that's something I feel like I've grown in a lot.
No, that's cool because I think a lot of people like it's hard to recognize that. Like, especially too, like BC is an insane academic school.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard to
Yeah.
thrive there, especially when you first get there. And like that's all a lot to take in. I still feel like people just don't have an appreciation for how much goes into being an athlete and a student at the same time and making it's one thing to like go through the day to day, it's another to excel in it. So like
Mhm.
yeah, I appreciate that mindset for sure. And especially like if you go backwards too and look at like, if you could tell yourself something when you're like, 17 or 18 before you've committed or or whatever, like what would you say? Like what kind of thing would you give? What kind of advice are you giving to 17 or 18-year-old Maria?
Mm, I would say enjoy every moment, like especially even when it feels like, oh, you're losing these games, or you might not feel like you guys are gonna like you're gonna go anywhere, or you just feel discouraged. Like overall, I just feel like it's good to sit in that for a moment, but also just appreciate how far you've come and what you've done, because like a lot of people haven't done, the things that you've done. So I feel like what I would tell my younger self is just to stay patient, believe in the process. Um, because it's a real thing. Like I mean, people say like trust the process, but like it's a real thing. Like just knowing that if you stay true to what you do and you do it well and you do it the right way and do it like to the 100% like that you can, then like there's so many possibilities for you. So that's like the main thing, honestly, because I mean, if you asked me where I would be like 5 years ago, I feel like I wouldn't have said like here doing what I'm doing. So that's something I would tell myself for sure. Yeah.
No, that's dope. And I obviously, as you mentioned, with wanting to be a pro someday, in terms of like voicing, goals and things that you really want to accomplish. Obviously, I know you're not looking ahead from this year, but in terms of being a pro and like what you want to do, what are the things that you really want to accomplish? Like what things you want to get to? What are you hoping to keep working on and growing in?
I do definitely want to work on continue to getting stronger, continuing to just be relentless. I want to that's something I really want to work on, being relentless and being more than just like, a back to the basket post. I want to kind of expand my game because I know that's what a lot of professional like scouts look for. So just knowing that and building my IQ and building relationships with people that can help me get to the places that I want to be. Just getting to know how professional sports work. I feel like those are some of the big things. And just getting to know like my goals specifically and voicing them and not just like thinking them, because when I like put them on paper, like voice it, it helps you kind of visualize it, I think, and helps you like, motivates you every day to get where you want to be, because it's like a process every day. It's just to continue to get to where you want to be. So, um, being like bought in day out. I know it's really hard, but that's something that kind of helps me. That's going to help me get where I want to be.
For sure. And when you mentioned like being relentless, how do you work on being relentless? Like, I
I
know,
think
yeah,
yeah. Sorry, I think it's a
really good.
mental thing. There's like definitely sometimes in the game where I'm like dead tired, but I know like just knowing that your team needs you, like in the game, even yesterday when I was tired, I was just like, they need you, Maria, like they need you, you need you, so just keep fighting. So I feel like it's a mental thing. Like your body could tell you like just like stop, like slow down, stop moving, but knowing that being relentless will draw attention to you, and then of your other teammates just being as strong as they can on their own as well will make us better together.
Definitely. Well, two more things to close out
Mhm.
on. Renaya Kelly has like really played well the last
Yes,
month.
yes.
And I know part of it's, I mean, you guys have been really banged up, but she
Mhm.
stepped up in a big way.
Yes.
Uh, what should people know about Renaya Kelly as she keeps growing into being a Tar Heel?
I think Renata Kelly has had like a phenomenal high school career. They retired her jersey. Like we knew who she was coming in. So I feel
Mhm.
like her coming in and proving that once again has shown the type of player she can be. I feel like as she grows, she's just a freshman, so um, she's stepping up big time. I feel like after her concussion back in December, she kind of just went on an incline from there.
Mhm.
Um, and she works so hard. I see it. She's in the gym every day working on her shot, and that's why it's falling, and she believes in it, and that's why she's just been on a steady incline. And I think that as a freshman there's a lot of doubts you may have, like, should I like step up in this moment, should I say something, but I feel like she's really working on her communication skills and the way she facilitates as a point guard. So I feel like she's like relentless. She's a great basketball player. She's a great person. She's hilarious. I feel like she's one of the funniest people on the team. But yeah, she's just one of the hardest workers.
No, I love that. You definitely get the impression watching her play defense. She is like nuts at the point of attack, which is very fun to watch.
Yeah.
Also makes your life easier too when if people aren't getting blown past, they're a lot easier to guard things.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think especially, with the rest of the year coming up, is there anything else that and I know like we mentioned games that you're looking forward to, but
Mhm.
in terms of like, potentially making the tournament and getting to go forward with that, what are you most excited about for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I'm really excited about that just because it'll be my first time going to the
Yeah.
tournament. So it'll be just, like hopefully we will go next year as well, but like this is the first time. It's just like it comes with a different excitement and the environment, even just watching it from the past 2 years, like the environment around March has been something that's gotten more attention over the years. So I'm just looking forward to, helping draw more attention to women's basketball. I feel like it's grown so much over the past year and it's gonna keep growing. So being a part of that is just something that I'm really excited about. And then obviously I go to Boston College at the end of this month, so I'm looking forward to that too. I forgot to add that.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, like a nice little homecoming. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
Well, Maria, I really appreciate your time. It was dope to get to know you. I'm excited to watch you guys close out the rest of the year. Obviously, still a lot more time, but
Mhm.
not as much as you think. It's kind of crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate you making the time. To everyone listening, thank you for listening. Keep up with everything UNC basketball and have a great rest of your day.